behavior, and he's with the Institute for Social Research and Psychology. We also have David Hung from SJTU, the joint program of University of Michigan and SJTU. And he focuses on mechanical engineering and the future of green transportation infrastructure. We also have Ben Stanley, and he focuses on growth markets and initiatives at IBM. So, and then just to make it even more diverse, I'm a city planner who has come to the University of Michigan to be managing director of SMART. And I focus on the future of integrated transportation, how we connect the dots and optimize, and what the emerging integrated markets are for the future. So you might wonder, what is seamless multimodal transportation? Maybe you don't. But I actually want to start with you. I want to get into your deep inner thoughts about how people make decisions and about the future of transportation. So I'd like to ask you, just call it out. What are the most game-changing, what are the most profound regional transportation innovations in the last 50 years? Transportation innovations in urban transportation. Just call. Zipcar, great one. What? Smartphone, good one.
Interstate 60.
Interstate 60, okay. That snuck in under the 50-year wire. What else?
Hybrid, GPS.
GPS, great. Hybrids. What else? Okay, well that was good enough, actually. One of the ones I really like, this was the one I chose, bus rapid transit. You think maybe not, but it was a real game changer in the 70s when Jamie Lerner did it in Curitiba. And it looks like a bus, but it's not. It's an extremely optimized subway system, only on the surface. And it's very nimble, it's very effective, it moves a lot of people, and it's highly cost effective. So I thought that was a really important change, because what happened is that went viral. So where some cities were trying to put in really deep subway systems and really expensive subway systems, Jamie Lerner came up with this idea that could be done very quickly and could be done on a dedicated lane instead of putting people out of their houses to lay tracks.
What country?
It was in Brazil. But it's actually grown into over 83 cities in the world now. It went viral before viral went viral. And there are more than 83 cities in North America that have bus rapid transit. So this is really interesting from the point of view of one mode. So then I think of 2.0 innovation as Bogota, Colombia. That's in the 90s. And what I like about that is that they went from one mode, thinking about I do one thing. I get around by car, I get around by bus, I get around by bicycle. They did everything. They put in bike lanes, they put in bus rapid transit, they did really interesting policies all at the same time and all in 3 years, which is really profound for transportation, I think, because we tend to imagine that urban planning solutions take a long, long time. People glaze over and say, oh, that's going to take 20 years. But as you know, it can happen very fast. And in Bogota, they also did it against all odds. So that's 2.0. And what we're going to focus on today is Game Changer 3.0, which is taking all of those things, and connecting the dots so that it becomes then the new mobility grid. So where you have these things that aren't really talking to each other, you move into a situation where you can move seamlessly from one mode to the other. You're sitting in the bus, you can order on the smartphone, you can order your zip car, you can get off at a new mobility hub, you can get into the zip car, you can drop it off at another new mobility hub, you can pick up a free bike, you can take that to the next hub. So what you then have is this portfolio of options, very similar to the portfolio of options you have for IT. So you have your desktop connected to your laptop and your cell phone and your camera and your printer and Google. Same thing, service, product, technology, design, optimized, brought together for the purpose of the user, which is an odd thing because I think sometimes as we plan for transportation, we think of only the mode we care about. and we design it that way, and then we don't care what happens at the other end. So you have these great bus rapid transit systems where somebody, like a single mom, will get out of the bus rapid transit system at the end of the line in the middle of the night after shift work, and she'll have no way home. This kind of development means you are using IT systems, you're using physical connectivity, you're using all sorts of connections so that people can make a seamless, multimodal door-to-door trip all the way, all the time. And that it's helped in integrated fare payment, integrated wayfinding and information and journey planning, and integrated institutional and customer support, and integrated policy. So it's basically, it sounds complicated, but it's basically more choices, more connected choices, focused on the user. So why is this happening? Well, we know urbanization isn't really allowing us to think anymore about absolutely everyone in the whole world having an SUV. Otherwise, the SUV then becomes a house. If you imagined everyone in Shanghai who's on foot or on a bicycle getting an SUV, then suddenly nothing would move ever. So there are these, new paradigms of space. And we also have all, the things you know about in sustainability, the climate change, the growing seniors population, and social disparity. The really exciting part, though, is that there's a flurry of innovations. And the flurry of innovations is coming from all over the world. It's not just the West, it's not just the East, it's from everywhere. There's also a shift in culture. It used to be that when you were 16, you wanted to have a Ford Mustang because that meant that you were really, you had status. It's different now. Young people are opting not to get their driver's licenses because it interferes with their texting. So now they want to have more, they want to have their iPad and they want to have their social networking, but the car isn't so much of a status symbol. Into the mix, we have to also remember that we're not just talking about moving people. We're talking also about moving goods, and we're talking about moving less. So moving less through telecommunications, telework, teleshopping, telebanking, but also wise urban land use and urban design so that things can be closer to each other and you can reduce the length of the trips. So if you start bunching the kinds of innovations that are coming up, they kind of end up in quadrants. And what happens is all the people that care about technology hang out together. The people that think, oh, I want to do an IT solution or I want to do fuels. And then all the urban planners hang out together, and all the entrepreneurs, well, no, the entrepreneurs don't hang out with each other, but they're kind of in that box. And then people who care about, products or modes, they're in another category, but they never talk to each other. So we have to bring the parts of the elephant together. It's as if the great creator were to say, what do you want? Do you want a heart or a lung or a pituitary gland? This is what we do with our transportation system. We say, cars are the way to go. Buses are the way to go. No, bikes are better. We have food fights over what modes are better. When really, it should be all yeses. I would say, I want all of those organs, and I want them to work seamlessly as a system. Time? Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay, so what might this look like? This is a video by Veolia, and they've done an animated visualization of a connected future. It's a little bit high-tech for me, but I think it really gives you a sense of the kinds of connectivity that are involved. Okay, so this is, there we go. Okay, so you get a sense there of the kinds of connectivity you have. And it looks like it might be complicated to implement, but at SMART, we've been working in many different cities to implement it using a four-step approach where we bring not the usual suspects together, we map out what's already there, and then we work on making a connected grid system with people from technology, people from business, people from NGOs, and people from government. And we have a primer if you'd like to learn more about what SMART does in that regard. We've learned from the cities that we work in, and we continue to work with those cities around the world. It has many, many benefits, and it also has really great business opportunities and market opportunities. And these are just a few pictures of the places that we've worked in. And it's really super important to think about also moving minds, how we think about this as a really exciting future, not as something that is going to be a sacrifice or that's going to stop us from doing things. This is about more choices and more connected choices. So now we're going to move to the part of the program that has the people who are actually working on thinking this through and making it happen. We're going to take some steps and explorations toward understanding it. This is the beginning of a journey, so we want to invite you to join us on this and not to be intimidated. It seems to look like we're trying to do everything, but really we're focusing on the connectivity part. At the end, we'll have a chance to have discussion, and these are going to be some of the questions that we'll ponder. In China and the US, what are the opportunities? What are the challenges? Who else needs to be engaged? And what are the next steps? So without further ado, I'm going to ask Richard to talk about the consumer uptake study.